The Boy of the Painted Cave, Chapters 15 and 16. Chapter 15. They walked across the valley, with Greybeard leaning on Tao's shoulder until they reached the foot of the limestone cliffs. Here Greybeard told Tao what to do. "Listen carefully," he said, "and do as I say." Tao stood quietly, waiting for the old man to catch his breath. He could not believe this was really happening. "Go up to the top of the cliffs, above the camp, and wait," said Greybeard. "As soon as darkness comes, climb down the narrow path to the entrance of Big Cave." Greybeard took the deerskin bag from his shoulder. He reached down and pulled out a large seashell filled with tallow. In the center was a peat moss wick. The old shaman's hands trembled as he gave it to Tao. "Here is your lamp," he said. "Light it from the endless flame and begin your journey into the cave." Even as Greybeard spoke, Tao could feel the cold chill creep up the back of his neck. He was not a chosen one, yet he would go into the secret cavern. It was the greatest taboo of all. But the old man brushed away Tao's doubts with a wave of his hand. "Follow the main tunnel until you come to the place where the passageway divides." Greybeard tapped the boy on the shoulder on the same side as his lame foot. "Stay on this side, and you will not go wrong. When you reach the secret cavern, it will be deserted. Begin your drawings of the great bolts at once." Please stop here and answer question 1. Tao's mind was filled with 100 questions. So much had happened in so short a time. Greybeard leaned over, stifling a spasm of coughs. Then he straightened up and looked at Tao. Carefully, he draped the deerskin pouch over the boy's shoulder. "Here," he said, "this is yours now. Inside you will find the graven stones and all other magic you will need." Tao stepped back, stunned, but Greybeard continued. "Draw and paint as many longhorns as you can. Then, when I come with the clan hunters, they will see how true your images are, and they will know why I have chosen you as the new cave painter." The old man stopped again. He was breathing hard and wheezing. "Go now," he said, "and remember what I have told you." Tao watched the old man walk away. Slouched over, coughing badly, he disappeared into the dark oak wood forest. Now the boy was alone with his thoughts and his doubts. Tao left Ram in a little cave and told him to stay. Then he climbed up the cliffs and walked along the top until he was above the entrance to Big Cave. Below him the fires blazed and he could see the camp of the clan people. He stayed in the shadows, sitting with his back against an old pine tree. As he waited, he worried about Greybeard. He had never seen his old friend so weak and thin. It seemed a long time before the sun set behind the purple mountains. The crickets began to chirp, and a pair of nightjars called and swooped overhead. Tao got up, his hands shaking, his legs unsteady. He curled his bad foot around his tree-limb crutch and started down the narrow ledge leading to Big Cave. Far below he could see the clan hunters, tiny figures dancing around a big fire. Their chanting and singing drifted up to him on the damp night air. They were celebrating the coming hunt of the longhorns. Some of the men wore bison robes, their heads covered with antlers and horns. Bracelets of shells and bones around their legs and ankles jingled as they danced. Others wore masks, carved in the images of bears or devils to ward off the evil spirits. Tao moved cautiously, edging his way along, hiding behind the clumps of stunted evergreens growing out of the cliff's side. Slowly he made his way closer, glad that the clan people were busy celebrating and would not see him. He had just reached the cave entrance when suddenly he saw a young hunter climbing up the ledge to tend the endless flame. Quickly Tao moved back into the shadows, pressing himself against the cliff wall. With the dawdling slowness, the young hunter performed his task. He threw armfuls of wood on the fire, sending up a shower of sparks that lit up the darkness. Tao held his breath. He was in plain view as he shrunk back against the side of the white cliff. Yet neither the hunter nor the clan people below seemed to notice him. As soon as the hunter was gone, Tao crept up and lit his tallow lamp from the endless flame. He took one last look around and started into the cave. He was familiar with the large room just within the entrance, for he had spent many winters there. It was empty now, and save for the flickering light coming from the endless flame, it was gray and cold. Toward the back of the room was the entrance to the long, twisting passageway. that led to the secret cavern. Please stop here and answer question 2. Tao hesitated. He had never been beyond this point before, and it gave him an eerie feeling to step past the opening. Holding his lamp high and limping along on his wooden crutch, he started down the dark tunnel. It was damp and gloomy, and his flickering lamp cast wavering shadows on the rough gray walls. Except for the occasional sound of dripping water, there was a cold stillness, like death. Tao shuffled on, trying to hurry. He wanted to paint as many images as possible before Greybeard came in with the hunters. Soon the tunnel became narrower, with turns. Once, when the ceiling became too low, he got down on his hands and knees, pushing his lamp ahead of him. Then, at an abrupt turn in the tunnel, Tao's heart jumped. A huge cave line glared down at him. It swayed back and forth as he moved the lamp, and he realized he was looking at a lone painting done by an early cave painter on the wall of this hidden tunnel. Please stop here and answer question 3. He continued on and soon came to a place where the passageway divided into 2 corridors. He stopped, undecided, and his heart sank. He could not remember which shoulder the shaman had touched. With a nagging doubt, he chose the one on the left. A dank, musty odor filled the air, and the trickling sound of dripping water echoed throughout the tunnel. Slowly, Tao limped along, holding his lamp ahead of him. Then he stopped. Ugh! He was sure he had taken the wrong turn. Hurriedly, he started back, almost running, stumbling in his haste, searching for the other path. He came to a second opening. Was this the one leading to the secret cavern? He wasn't sure. He felt a dampness in the palm of his hands. His heart was pounding furiously. More confused than ever, he started down the new tunnel. He had only gone a short distance when a sharp hissing sound broke the silence, and he was left in total darkness. A drop of water from the dripping ceiling had snuffed out his lamp. For a long moment, Tao stood petrified, numb with fear. He threw down the useless lamp and with a trembling hand began feeling his way along the damp walls. Totally blind, he groped through the blackness, not even sure that he was going in the right direction. Please stop here and answer questions 4 and 5. Chapter 16. Tao limped on through the darkness, guided only by the unseen wall. The air was cool, yet he felt a dampness under his deerskin robe, and beads of sweat stood out on his forehead. He was trapped in this pitch-black underground passage. His hand brushed across the cold wall as he felt his way along, groping through the darkness with his left hand, holding tight to his crutch with the other. The gloom closed in on him, surrounding him, and he was sure he was going in the wrong direction. He shuffled along, slowly listening to the scraping of his feet, his eyes trying to penetrate the blackness. When he smelled the reeking odor of burning fat, it was faint, but he took a deep breath and it became stronger. He limped faster, his hand out in front of him, reaching. Smoke meant fire, and fire meant light. He kept on going, his heart filled with new hope. Suddenly, far in the distance, he thought he saw a faint glimmer of light. It danced for a moment, then went out. It came again, a pinpoint of brightness far in the hazy darkness. It seemed to glow, then fade again. He limped toward it eagerly, stumbling, falling, then picking himself up. The soft yellow gleam became brighter. The white haze and the burning smell became stronger. Tao was breathing fast, his heart beating wildly. Soon he was able to see clearly. He hurried on, almost running now. A few moments later, he stumbled into a magnificent, brightly lit chamber. Glowing tallow lamps were set in niches along the walls. Scattered across the floor of the cavern were hollowed-out stones and shells filled with paints and oils. Empty mammoth bones, standing upright, held brushes and sticks of charcoal. He blinked, and for a moment he looked around in silent awe, unable to believe his eyes. He had found the secret cavern. Tao dropped his crutch and fell back against the wall, his mind filled with wonder. Many times he had heard about the secret cavern, but never did he imagine it held such splendor, such color, and beauty. Please stop here and answer question 6. Long rows of great hairy mammoths marched across the cavern wall, together with running horses, bristling boars, and giant cave bears, all in varied shades of red, tawny browns, and yellows. Images of woolly rhinos covered the opposite wall, while scattered groups of antelope and deer capered across the high arched ceilings. The almost life-size animals seemed to march through the cavern as if they were alive, moving and turning in the light of the flickering lamps. Tao was amazed by the dazzling colors. The animals were just as he had seen them as they wandered across the plains or through the forest. The rose deer was tense, the mammoths ponderous, the bears and cave lions strong and fearsome. They were all here, brought to life in a secret place, the kind of drawings and images Tao had always dreamed of. He breathed deeply, filled with a sense of belonging. Now he would be part of this secret place forever. He was glad that Greybeard had asked him to come. Please stop here and answer question 7. Tao walked over to a large, unmarked portion of the wall. He rubbed across it with the palm of his hand and felt its cool, clean smoothness. He reached into Greybeard's leather pouch, his fingers groping around for the graven stones. One by one he took them out until he found the slate with the engraving of the longhorn bull. He shook his hands to loosen them up, then picked up a large stick of charcoal. Now he would make his first mark on the wall of the Secret Cavern. With a wide sweep of his arm, he made a large outline. He held up the sketch for a moment, studying it. Then he began to draw. He copied the sketch line for line, drawing the image of the longhorn. He drew the great square head with long, curving horns. He swung his arm freely, sketching in the massive shoulders, the thick chest, and the muscular body. Next, he reached into the deerskin pouch and took out a long flint chisel. Using a stone from the floor of the cave as a hammer, he began to carve out a shallow circle around the eyes and nostrils, just the way Greybeard had taught him. For a moment he stepped back, nodding with satisfaction. Then quickly he outlined 2, 3 more longhorns, one behind the other. With his bad foot, he pushed 3 of the paint pots closer to the wall, where they would be within easy reach. He picked up a large feather brush and began filling in the colors, applying the yellows first, then shading them with reds and browns. Slowly the longhorns came alive, their muscles rippling, their sides heaving in the wavering lamplight. On and on Tao painted, watching the herd of longhorns grow beneath his hand, watching it march across the long gray wall. He felt himself lifted up. He forgot about taboos. He forgot about the clan laws. He began so caught up with his painting that he even forgot about Greybeard and the clan hunters. He finished his longhorns, and now, with wild strokes of his brush, he outlined the mammoth, drawing the high domed head, the curved tusks and wavering trunk. He worked swiftly, with long, sweeping strokes, letting his hand flow freely over the cavern walls. Again he brushed in the colors, first the yellow, then the reds and browns, and finally the deep shadows of black and gray. He was almost finished when he heard the shuffling sound of feet coming through the tunnel. He turned slowly, the dripping paintbrush still in his hand. Now the hunters, Volt and Garth and all of them, would see how well he could draw, and Greybeard would name him the new cave painter. He stood quietly to one side, a proud smile on his face. Tao watched as the clan hunters filed into the secret cavern. He saw them glance around, blinking in the flickering light. He waited for Greybeard to come in, but the old man was not with them. Suddenly, Tao's smile died. He saw the look of horror on Garth's face, and he knew he had done something wrong. Please stop here and answer question 8. He heard a vengeful curse and turned to see Volt standing behind him, stunned disbelief burning in the big leader's eyes. The hunters came toward him slowly, grumbling in their throats. A cold sweat beaded his forehead. He held up his hands. "No," he pleaded. "No. Greybeard will tell you. It is the will of the spirits." Volt stepped forward, pointing an accusing finger at the boy. His scarred face was contorted in livid rage. "You have defiled the secret place," he stormed. "You are a curse on this clan, you and that evil wolf dog." The violent words rang through the cavern and echoed in Tao's ears. "Greybeard sent me here," Tao said, "to paint the longhorns." He pointed at the drawings he had just finished. "Greybeard!" But the hunters would not even look at the paintings. They crowded closer, glowering down at the boy. "You lie," said Garth, pushing forward and pulling the leather bag from Tao's shoulder. He held it up for all to see. "Look, he has stolen the shaman's pouch." "Perhaps he has killed Greybeard," said another, "and now would take his place." Tao was stunned. He shook his head. "No," he said, "Greybeard gave me the pouch. He will tell you himself." Volt's eyes narrowed. "Where is the shaman?" Tao swallowed hard. He did not come with you?" "You know he is not with us," growled Garth. "What have you done with him?" "Nothing," said Tao, his eyes begging them to understand. "Greybeard will come. He gave his word." "Then where is he?" demanded Volt. "I left the shaman near the oak wood. He was sick, but I would not harm him. He was my friend. He taught me to paint in the caves." The hunter's eyes were filled with dark suspicion. They grabbed him roughly, pushing and pulling him through the twisting tunnel and out of the cave. They took him down to the edge of the camp, where they bound his hands and feet. In the dim light of the distant campfire, Tao saw the fury in their eyes. "Find the shaman," he pleaded. "He will tell you I speak the truth." Still the hunters would not listen. They gathered around him, bristling with anger, shaking their spears, their flint knives ready in their hands. Just then Volt came into the light of the fire, his stocky legs planted wide apart, his eyes flashing. "Wait," he ordered. "The boy has angered the spirits of the Longhorns. Now let him die by their wrath. Let him face Saxon, the sacred bull." Please stop here and answer question 9.